Hey guys, I got a request a couple of times to make a video about RELICS, so I'm gonna do that sooner than later. I was planning to make another video, but we're gonna skip that one and get into this one first. As usual, remember to like the video, subscribe if you didn't already, and let's get into it. So we're gonna start with the green stuff here, the green RELICS, and as you can see, the one I already managed to max is this one. I'm not gonna read the name because I'm gonna fail miserably if I do that, but it's the one that increases attack for all heroes by 10% when you max it. And the logic that I use for this one is that I like to have like bonus that apply in every situation. Let me see if there is any example. For example, critical damage here. Obviously, it's great if you can buff the critical damage of your heroes. So that's obviously gonna be useful. But critical damage is useful only when you can make a critical hit. So it's not something that is always giving me a bonus, it's always giving me an advantage over like my opponent. That's why I prefer to do something like attack in percentage, because this is always gonna give me an advantage. It could be PvP, could be PvE, it is always working, it's always active, if that makes sense. So I really like to invest into this kind of bonus. And the two good relic in this category, let me like read very fast all of the bonus because I didn't check them from the moment they came out. But yes, the good relic for the green one are this one, the Mask of Loki, because it increased the HP of all your heroes by 4% at first and then up to 10%. Or this one, the one that I invested into, which it's gonna increase attack. So depending on your playstyle and what you prefer and what is your situation, if you feel like you need more damage, you can go for this one. If you feel like you need more HP, you wanna play more defensively, you can do this one, the Mask. But yeah, I would say it's not any big reason to invest into anything that is not one of these two. I also only saw other players investing into this one or this one. I didn't see anybody else going for anything else. Then let's go for the blue one. Let me see. Okay, this is the one with the bonus for all the attribute. I would say you can either go for this one for wind damage if you prefer to go for like a more PvE oriented approach, because this one is gonna boost the damage of Flora. And obviously you're gonna use Flora for all the main PvE mode, like pushing stage, pushing elemental tower, realm, dungeon. I mean, probably not dungeon. You're probably gonna finish dungeon sooner than you're gonna need Flora. But she's basically pretty much used into every mode in the game. And also, of course, you're also gonna use her for PvP. So it's not like it's only gonna help you in PvE. It's also gonna improve your PvP if you care about that. If you want to focus more on PvP, I would say this one is the best one. Obviously, it's gonna boost light damage, like the damage of your light heroes. And obviously most of the DPS in this game are light, especially you have Sophia, and then you're also gonna have Peerless. If you like, this one is for PvP. If you focus on PvP, you're also gonna have Peerless eventually. You're gonna level up Peerless, because in my opinion is the best assassin in the game right now, and it's gonna be super strong in Divine Tournament. So yeah, if you prefer PvP, I would go for this one. If you prefer PvE, I would go for this one. I know that some people could argue that Sophia is more useful in PvE early game compared to Flora. Yes, that is true, but first thing, Sophia is like useful not mostly for the damage that she does from the skill, but from the true damage that she can do from the skill or like the other attack and stuff because of her talent, and also because of the damage that she does at the end of every turn with her talent, and that damage is not gonna get boosted by this one. So this is like something you have to keep in mind. The light damage boost only boosts the damage of the skill. It doesn't affect true damage, and also doesn't affect the talent, like the damage from the talent. And also because Sophia is mostly for early game, and early game you don't really need a boost in damage. Like Sophia, plus 30 Sophia is already enough. You're gonna need a boost in damage when you're already using Flora. So I think this one is much better for PvE. And then let's go to the purple one. As you can see, for the purple one, I invested a little bit into the one that provide damage against the boss. So this one is like completely PvE oriented relic, and I did this one because when the relic came out I was still doing stage and tower, and I wanted to finish as soon as possible, and I wanted to do as much damage as possible also to the boss in God's Trial. So this is why I choose this one. Absolutely, I don't regret investing some of the shovel into this one. I think it's very, very good. But if you don't want to do that and you want to invest into something that is always going to be useful both for PvE and PvP, I would say this one is the best one. It's the best one because one of the main heroes that you're going to use into every mode is Evelyn, and obviously you use Evelyn for the stun. So I think this is the one that is going to give you the most value. If you really, really don't want to invest into this one because it's only going to apply into PvE, I think this is the best option. At least it's like a second option for me, but you can do that as a first one. And then we have the orange, as you can see. Oh, I can actually start up this one. I was saying, if you can see I invested my shovel into this one, and I'm actually trying to make it 5-star. And the reason is very simple. Again, as I mentioned before, I like stuff that always provide like some utility in every moment of the game for me. And obviously, like, you're always gonna have some of your hero doing a normal attack. It's like the only skill when the skill is ready most of the time, so they're gonna do normal attack, and I think increasing the damage of normal attack is gonna be very useful for both PvE and PvP. So this is like the logic of why I'm upgrading this one as a second relic for me, for my team. And let's see if there is any good alternative. I would say if you don't want to do that one, I think this one is going to be the second best option, because poison damage is going to be very, very useful for PvE, especially for God's Trial, because most of the damage is going to be from Delia, so thanks to her poison. But again, this is one only gonna be useful in PvE. I mean, of course, you also use poison in PvP, but I think if I have to choose, I would prefer to invest into this one if I need something that is useful for both modes. So if you wanna go, like, if you wanna focus on PvE, that's a good option. This one is a good option. If you wanna do like the same approach that I use to have something that is useful in any situation, then this is a good one. Let's see for the red stuff here. I don't remember. Ah, okay, now I remember. So for this one, I would say the only two good options are this one or this one. I don't have either of them. This is why I'm using the shield. I don't think 2% control rest is gonna be any useful, honestly, but I don't have anything better. I don't really care about armor penetration on any of my water hero, so I would say it's good on wind hero because of Flora especially, or light and dark heroes. Between the two, I would go for light and dark heroes, just because you're gonna have eventually more light and dark heroes, like good and strong for PvE and PvP when you start to invest into more of them. And so overall, I would say this one is the best one, but the red relics are not really a priority for me, in my opinion. They're not that useful right now. It's gonna be very useful in many months from now, when you have a good amount of light and dark heroes upgraded, but right now it's not that big of a deal. That's why I didn't really roll for any of them specifically. And then we have the last one, the purple, which I think is the most interesting stuff, because they all have some very like particular bonus that depends on the class and stuff like that. I think the best one it's actually three of them. So if you don't have Peerless yet, I would say this one is the best one, because most likely you're gonna do most of your damage like with your mage. You're gonna invest most of your universal shard into mage, especially Sophia. This one is a very good one at first. I'm gonna let you read the effect, like when you can stop the video, read on your game. I'm not gonna stop now, but it's basically gonna be useful for mage. And then I think another interesting one is this one, and the reason is that this one is always gonna give you like something useful, because at the end of the day, in most team, you always have a priest in the backline, and you always, like, for both PvP and PvE. And also, if you use this relic, you can like make your team in a way that is gonna take advantage of the relic. Like, you can just position a priest in the back row. And the thing is, this one is always gonna work for any mode. Like, you always want to have damage reduction for both PvE and PvP. It's never gonna be like, it's never not gonna give you an advantage. But again, it depends on your approach in the game. I think, at least for me, it's better to go for damage instead of defense most of the time. So this is why I didn't look for this one, but I think it's very interesting depending on the team you're building and your priority in the game. So in my opinion, this is the best one for PvP, especially if you're gonna invest into Peerless, like what I'm doing now. So this is what I'm gonna use when I finish and make her plus 30. And the reason is very simple. The basic thing of Peerless is that she can skill multiple times if she can get a kill in the first turn. But if she failed to do that, and she already has the buff damage on normal attack from the other relic, she has a chance to do a follow-up attack, so a second attack in the same turn, dealing 80% of the damage. She's gonna have a lot of damage already, so I think 80% damage already buffed with the other relic is gonna be very good and it's gonna be very useful. And it's kind of like a plan B in case she cannot get the kill on turn 1 with the skill. So I think this is very, very interesting. Also, you're not gonna always have maxed Astro on Peerless, especially if you don't have max Astro at all. And so this is also going to be useful on turn 1 to help make her a kill, because again, she works very well if she can kill one enemy hero in turn 1, and this is going to help if she doesn't have the skill ready in the first turn. So this is like my logic, my opinion about all the relics. Of course, it's going to depend on your playstyle, what you like the most, if you prefer PvP, if you prefer PvE. Again, as you can see, I'm more like PvP oriented guy, especially now that I finished most of the PvE content, but I still think this is a very, very good investment. So think about it. Try like what works best for you, depending also on your unit, on your progress in the game so far. Like, the best thing of this game is that you can try many different stuff, and like what works for me maybe is not the best for you. So I encourage everybody to try to read all the effects properly and go for what they think is best for them, not what I think is best for me. And as always, if you have any like doubt, or you want to ask any question about it, feel free to do it in the comment. I will try to answer to everybody like I always do. That's it for the video. I hope it was useful, and see you in the next one. Bye bye, have a good day.